Do you think we have tried every single slime recipe possible? We sometimes think so too, but then we find new recipes with unexpected ingredients and get surprised. Another one! Therefore today, we will be checking new slime recipes. Hey guys, it's Lab Rats, and we begin! The first recipe starts with pouring into a large bowl store-bought slime. It is quite dense, hardly stretches, and immediately breaks. Sadly, it is not fun to play with a slime like that. Now let's separate the whites from the yolk, because according to the recipe for the slime, we need only egg whites. Add them to the store slime. Then shaving foam. According to the recipe, you need only a little bit of it, but what we'll need is a lot of the light Play-Doh. But first, try to mix. And we have to admit that mixing the mass is not so easy, so for now, let's move on to adding light Play-Doh. As usual, we will add it in small pieces and we'll use up one bag. Now add about 5 drops of glycerin. And again, try to mix all the ingredients. And it's not easy either, therefore, we move on to adding a peel-off mask to the mixture. Here, it is so beautiful of a golden colour. Again, we attempt to mix the ingredients. It's time to pour a little transparent glue into the bowl and again return to trying to mix all these ingredients into a homogeneous mass. 2 squirts of liquid soap and it's time to take a spoon into our hands. Mixing this slime, I definitely have gained some muscles on my arms. It seems that the spoon is of little use. It's time to take the mixture in your hands and continue to knead it. My hands feel pieces of Play-Doh and slime here and there, but eventually I managed to mix them into the rest of the ingredients. The result is a cute yet not so stretchy mass. By the way, if you notice, we did not put tetraborate in this slime, although it was indicated in the recipe. In general, the slime stretches well and makes clacking sounds. Go to the next recipe. Squeeze a peel-off mask into a bowl. This time it is silver. As a thickener, we will use kinetic sand. Put 1 teaspoon of sand in a bowl and mix with the peel-off mask. The mass has become homogeneous but not thick. Therefore, we continue to add sand and knead it again. But so far, unfortunately, nothing has changed much. The mixture remains quite liquid and drips from the spoon. We repeat all the steps again, and again, the effect is not noticeable. We put more kinetic sand, and now the mass is finally starting to thicken, but it seems it has turned not into a slime, but into some kind of porridge. It smears on the fingers and does not stretch at all. By the way, we already tested kinetic sand as a thickener and everything worked out perfectly in that recipe. Watch this video if you haven't seen it yet. For the next recipe, take a bag of light brown Play-Doh and add it to the bowl piece by piece. Now put 1 teaspoon of sunscreen. Mix the Play-Doh pieces with the sunscreen well. We have noticed that using a spoon is not very convenient, so try to knead it in hands. Well, as we see, Play-Doh has become much softer thanks to the sunscreen, but it has not yet turned into a slime. For example, the mass does not stretch at all, but immediately breaks. But let's try to add a small amount of cream according to the recipe. Perhaps it will turn the situation around. Again, we begin to stir with a spoon, then take it into our hands. Unfortunately, adding cream only worsened the situation. Play-Doh has totally softened and has smeared on the fingers. We pass on to a more interesting recipe. We take out of the packaging this cute blue slime with white beads. It looks like a completely ordinary store slime. It stretches, but sometimes it breaks. Add ground absorbic acid to the slime. There is no point to try to stir it with a spoon, so we take it in our hands and start to knead straight away. For now, nothing is happening. Probably we have put very little absorbic acid. We will add more. The The spots where absorbic acid touched the slime are becoming more slivery. We are trying to stretch our slime. It seems that it has stopped tearing to pieces, but it still remains quite tight. Therefore, we put more absorbic acid to increase the effect. See how the slime becomes gooey when it comes in contact with absorbic grains. Now it's time to put a small amount of hair conditioner in our slime. The slime has become much softer, but still it sometimes breaks when stretched. So let's add some more absorbic acid. Mix thoroughly, and now, finally, we can say that the slime has changed for the better. It easily stretches into a transparent film and does not tear. The following recipe seemed very interesting to us. We didn't do this before. We take a water-soluble film for embroidery. It can be bought at any sewing store. This film looks like a cloth. Put it in a bowl and pour a small amount of boiling water. And just look at what happens. The fabric begins to dissolve right before your eyes. Mix the film with boiling water and see that it turns into glue. At least in appearance it is very similar. Inside there are a few not dissolved white lumps of tissue. We try to get rid of them, and in the end we get such a mass. Add a small amount of sodium tetraborate to it according to the recipe. The mixture is clearly starting to thicken, but not enough yet. Therefore we pour a little more tetraborate. The mass is starting to stretch much better. Probably it's time to pick it up. If you try to stretch the mass, then these fibers become visible. Surprisingly, for the first time, I see such a slime, made from fabric. Slime leaves a sticky film on our hands, but stretches into a film with the texture of the threads. It's the first time that I hold in my hand such a strange yet interesting mass. Gradually it becomes thicker and stretching it gets more difficult. Perhaps you can make it softer with a piece of toothpaste. But no, toothpaste doesn't really help. The slime stretches but remains tight. Do you also like unusual and experimental recipes? Then press that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our new videos. Bye bye everyone!